though he has known evil men, but he has not lived his life well. He wonders if somehow he deserves this. The numbness has stolen just about everything from him. The shapes tighten around him, waiting, for they also know his time of flesh and bone is nearing its end. He too must become a creature of mist and memory. They will help him, he knows that. They are strangers, separated by time and mortality, but they are brothers in death. The sounds of battle fade. He watches the snowflakes as they drift gracefully from the dark skies to settle on his upturned face, a slight breeze catching them and sending them into a soft spin. Slow-motion ballerinas swirling to music no one can hear. Finally, inevitably, he lets the cold take him until he becomes one with it. His blood is still. Chapter 2. As demonstrations went, it was unlikely to rival des Gilets jaunes. In fact, there was only one high-vis yellow jacket in view, perhaps worn by someone who had been watching CNN and been inspired by the Paris movement. Or perhaps it was merely a workie who had stopped by to find out what the fuss was all about. The supporters bulged around the small woman as she stood beneath the sign that detailed parking restrictions outside the red brick building. Too many for a knot of people, not enough for a throng, Rebecca Connolly thought. Some of them leaned on the half-dozen blue bollards that surrounded a no-parking area, marked by yellow crosses on the tarmac. She saw a handful of hand-made signs, cardboard stapled or glued to sticks or broom handles, words scribbled in marker pen expressing their reason for gathering here on this nippy, dull March morning. There had been a light fall of snow overnight, but it had not rested on the city streets. A few people stood on the opposite side of the narrow road, watching and listening, but they were merely passers-by, lingering to find out what was going on. Rebecca saw a man in the upper window of the guest house behind them, a saucer in one hand cupped to his lips, the events outside the council headquarters proving more interesting than Homes Under the Hammer. Rebecca watched Mo Burke work the crowd, and could not help but be impressed. In another life, another world, she could have been a politician, or at least a community leader. The people listening to her knew what she really was, but still they paid attention, they applauded, they nodded their heads in assent. Perhaps they did so only because they had been urged to come along by Mo and her sons, for when a Burke urges, it is best to fall in line. Perhaps it was merely because she was telling them what they wanted to hear, giving voice to their own thoughts, strengthening the words with a powerful delivery, only partly aided by the microphone and megaphone. The thing was, she didn't really need it. Her voice was strong enough to carry her words. She was not a large woman, but she had a presence. Star quality. If star quality was packaged in bleached blonde hair and smoke-roughened Glasgow accent, many years of living in the Highlands had done little to soften its edges. Chas Wymark was down at the front, grabbing shots of Mo as she spoke. She had given him a few suspicious looks. She did not generally welcome press interest, but she had opened this particular door for some reason, and had to accept it. Rebecca had snatched some shots of the crowd with her phone for the Chronicle, her newspaper budget no longer stretching to the hire of freelance photographers such as Chas. She was no snapper, so they would have to take what they got, not that they cared much anymore. But she did make sure Mo was in the frame. Mo Burke, given name Maureen, sometimes known as Ma, was a drug dealer, if only by repute, for the truth was she had never seen the inside of a courtroom on charges relating to supply, at least not from the point of view of the dock. Rebecca had done her homework before heading out to cover the demo, so she knew the woman's husband, Tony, was a different matter. He was currently doing time for assault to severe injury after having a close encounter of the hurt kind with an Edinburgh-based thug called Sammy Lang, who was trying to horn in on the Inverness market. Sammy was known as the Slug because he left a trail as he walked. He also, Rebecca was told, had a liking for underage sex. Given the Slug's sexual predilections, Rebecca wondered if it was a coincidence that Mo Burke had chosen to champion this particular cause.